Hello friends, English literature, Elizabethan and Jacobean drama, The Duchess of Malfi by John Webster. Brief questions with answers. Brief questions 1 to 41. Question 1. Who is Webster? Answer. John Webster is one of the major figures of Jacobean drama. He is best known for writing the tragedies The Duchess of Malfi and The White Devil. Question 2. Who served as the official poet of the Merchant Taylors' Company? Answer. John Webster served as the official poet of the Merchant Taylors' Company. Question 3. When and where was Webster born? Answer. Webster was probably born close to 1578 in London. Question 4. What is the original name of the play, The Duchess of Malfi? Answer. The original name to The Duchess of Malfi is The Tragedy of the Duchesses of Malfi. Question 5. What is The Duchess of Malfi? Answer. The Duchess of Malfi is a macabre tragic play written by the English dramatist John Webster in 1612-13. Question 6. When and where was The Duchess of Malfi first performed? Answer. The Duchess of Malfi was first performed privately at the Blackfriars Theatre, then before a more general audience at the Globe in 1613-14. Question 7. When was The Duchess of Malfi published? Answer. The Duchess of Malfi was published in 1623. Question 8. On what event is The Duchess of Malfi based? Answer. The Duchess of Malfi is loosely based on events that occurred between about 1508 and 1513, recounted in William Painter's The Palace of Pleasure, 1567. Question 9. What is the historical identity of the Duchess? Answer. The Duchess was Giovanna di Aragona, whose father, Erigo di Aragona, Marquis of Geraci, was an illegitimate son of Ferdinand I of Naples. Her husbands were Alfonso Piccolomini, Duke of Amalfi, and as in the play, Antonio Bologna. Question 10. When was Giovanna of Aragon widowed? Answer. Giovanna of Aragon, Duchess of Malfi, was widowed at about 20 years old. Question 11. Whom did Giovanna of Aragon marry? Answer. After being widowed, she secretly married Antonio Bologna in a service witnessed only by her waiting woman. Question 12. What kind of play is The Duchess of Malfi? Answer. The Duchess of Malfi is a revenge tragedy. Question 13. What techniques of the revenge tragedy have been used in Duchess of Malfi? Answer. In The Duchess of Malfi, Webster uses many of the techniques of the revenge play, a form that was starting to fall out of fashions at the time of the play's first staging, but for different and usually more complex purpose. Question 14. How is the structure of the play, The Duchess of Malfi? Answer. The structure of the play is still fairly unorthodox. For example, the tragic and climatic scene of the heroine's death occurs in the fourth act, leaving an entire act to follow. Question 15. How does the play, The Duchess of Malfi, begin and end? Answer. The play begins as a love story with a duchess who marries beneath her class, and ends as a nightmarish tragedy as her two brothers exact their revenge, destroying themselves in the process. Question 16. Why is The Duchess of Malfi often considered among the greatest tragedies of English Renaissance drama? Answer. The complexity of some of its characters, particularly Bosola and the Duchess, and Webster's poetic language ensure the play among the greatest tragedies of English Renaissance drama. Question 17. Under whose influence did Jacobean drama continue the trend of staging violence and horror? Answer. Under the influence of Seneca, Jacobean drama continued the trend of staging violence and horror. Question 18. To which literary period did Webster belong? Answer. Webster belonged to the Jacobean period. Question 19. What is the extension of the Jacobean period? Answer: the Jacobean era refers to the period of time in which James I ruled England and Scotland from 1603 to 1625. Question 20. From where is the word Jacobean derived? Answer: the word Jacobean is derived from Jacobus, the Latin form of the English name James. Question 21. Who are the prominent literary figures of the Jacobean period? Answer: the prominent literary figures of the Jacobean period are John Webster, Thomas Middleton, John Ford, and Ben Jonson. Question 22. What plays of Shakespeare were written in the Jacobean period? Answer: Shakespeare's King Lear, Macbeth, and The Tempest were written in the Jacobean period. Question 23. About what Antonius is known to others? Answer: Antonius' honesty and good judge of character are characteristics well known to the other characters. Question 24. Why does Antonio accept the Duchess' proposal of marriage? Answer: he accepts the Duchess's proposal of marriage because of her disposition rather than her beauty. Question 25. Who is Delio? Answer: Delio is a courtier who tries to woo Julia based on a historical character of the same name. His purpose is to be the sounding board of his friend Antonio. He acts as a narrator and is privy to the secrets of Antonius' marriage and children. Question 26. Who is Bosola? Answer: Bosola is the villain in the Duchess of Malfi. Question 27. What kind of man is Bosola? Answer: Bosola is a lustful, greedy, proud, bloody, and spiteful man. Question 28. On whom is the character of Bosola based? Answer: the character of Bosola is based on the historical Daniele di Bojolo. Question 29. What was the name of the cardinal historically? Answer: historically, the name of the cardinal was Luigi or Lodovico. Question 30. Who is Ferdinand? Answer: Ferdinand was the Duke of Calabria and twin brother of the Duchess. Question 31. What is Calabria? Answer: Calabria was the name of a district or territory in Italy. Question 32. What was the name of Ferdinand in reality? Answer: in reality, his name was Carlo, Marquis of Geraci. Question 33. Who is the Duchess? Answer: she is the protagonist, sister to Ferdinand and the cardinal. Question 34. When did the Duchess become a widow? Answer: the Duchess became a widow in the prime of her life. Question 35. Who witnessed the Duchess' remarriage? Answer: Cariola, the Duchess's waiting woman, and privy to her secrets, witnesses the Duchess's remarriage. Question 36. Who is Julia? Answer: Julia is Castruccio's wife and the cardinal's mistress. Question 37. How does Julia die? Answer: Julia dies at the cardinal's hands from a poisoned Bible. Question 38. What does the name Malatesti mean? Answer: the name means headache, referred to as the mere sick of sugar candy by the Duchess. He is yet another interchangeable courtier conveying their sycophantic court of Malfi. Question 39. Why was the doctor sent for? Answer: the doctor was sent for to diagnose and remedy Ferdinand's madness and his supposed lycanthropia. Question 40. What are the main themes of the Duchess of Malfi? Answer: the main themes of the play are misuse of power, revenge, and the status of women, and the consequence of their assertion of authority, the argument of bloody versus merit, the upshot of unequal marriage, cruelty, incest, corruption, and so forth. Question 41. What is Malfi? Answer: Malfi is a dukedom in Italy. Thank you friends for watching my video.